No Roy Harper, no Bobby Hutchison, Donny Hathaway or Howlin' Wolf, no Paul Heaton or Peter Hamill, no Merle Haggard, no Hawkwind, no Freddie Hubbard or Tubby Hayes, no Hamill on Trial or Emmy Lou Harris, that is, no John Lee Hooker or Lightning Hopkins, and for goodness sake, no George Harrison or Jimi Hendrix. So you can see what a difficult job it's had looking through the H section here to pick 4 or 5 out for today, but anyway, that's my problem, not yours. This is my tour through the nether regions of this vinyl collection. This week the letter H, and I want to start with a soul classic from 1969. This is Isaac Hayes' Hot Buttered Soul, and perhaps you can see this great cover on the front. Isaac Hayes, the focus on the top of his bald head, sunglasses, no shirt, and this huge gold chain which looks like it weighs about half a stone or something of gold round his neck. An absolute great album. I was going to do an Isaac Hayes impersonation today, get the shirt off and the shades on, but I couldn't find a chain to match that, so you spared that this week. This is a landmark album. It helped move soul away from the 3-minute quick pop songs that had dominated Motown, and opened the door towards much more complex, rock sort of orientated, longer songs. And this is as I say, a landmark album. There's only 4 tracks on the album, 2 of them are his own, but the 2 standout tracks for me, the absolute classics, are 2 covers, one on each side. First one on side 1 is a cover of Walk On By, Burt Bacharach's Walk On By, 12 minutes long on here, absolutely stunning. And then on side 2, and equally outrageously stupendous really, is a cover of Jimmy Webb's By the Time I Get to Phoenix, one of the great songs of the 20th century, and 19 minutes long. The first 8 or 9 minutes are actually just Isaac Hayes talking over a bass guitar note and a cymbal, and introducing his idea of the background in the relationship that led to this guy leaving his partner, and by the time he got to Phoenix she'd be rising. But yeah, give either of those long ones a listen if you can, and this is a brilliant album, landmark album, Isaac Hayes, Hot Buttered Soul. What I've done to try and help me narrow it down is keep a bit of a North East England flavour for the English or British albums that I'm looking at tonight. And the first one I want to talk about is from 1971, Claire Hamill, One House Left Standing. Great photo on the front, Claire Hamill looking terrified or terrifying, sat on an old railway wagon wheel with the famous Transporter Bridge in the background. And the photo is because Claire Hamill was from and lived in Port Clarence, which is a sort of Wild West type outpost really, a little council estate outpost stuck between the River Tees and the chemical industries. And her and her family were all from there. Her brother went to the same school as me, and my best mate at school actually was from Port Clarence, Steve or Michael Stevenson, and I used to spend many days knocking about on these wastelands and underage drinking in the pubs in neighbouring Haverton Hill. But so many happy memories at Port Clarence. And Claire Hamill, she was only 16 when she signed for Ireland. She might be just 17 here. She's written all these songs herself, songs of love and growing up, apart from one which is a cover of Joni Mitchell. She's got an amazing voice, sort of vibrato, sort of folk voice, a lot of range in it, and she's backed on guitar by John Martin, so as you'd expect, some lovely guitar playing. And she's also backed on the Joni Mitchell cover by some of the later members of the band Free, so Simon Kirke and Tetsu Yamauchi and Rabbit, John Bunrick Rabbit, backing her on that song. So, and I understand she's now living down south, is still playing, performing, recording, and from her website I glean that her first 4 albums, including this one, are due to be re-released, so definitely worth looking out for. Claire Hamill, One House Left Standing, 1971. Maintaining the Northeast theme, this is Alan Hull, Pipe Dream, his first solo album after he temporarily left Lindisfarne. I read that he'd become disillusioned a bit with Lindisfarne after a poor critical response to their 3rd album, Dingley Dell, which I think is fantastic. I still think it's a great album. Difficult to follow their first 2, Nicely Out of Tune and Fog on the Time, but because they were brilliant, but I think it's a good one. But anyway, left temporarily. These are songs which some of them sound like Lindisfarne could have done them, but it has got a different feel to it from a Lindisfarne album, and it's a real grower. Great copy of Magritte's painting La Philosophique on the front, and some of my favourite songs on this one, United States of Mind, Song for a Windmill, and maybe my favourite I think on this one, I Hate to See You Cry, which is a great Alan Hull song. Great songwriter, great singer with a sort of plaintive Geordie voice. One music journalist I think called him the Geordie Dylan at one time, which I think might be a bit over the top, but also a great community activist in Tyneside. He was very involved in the Labour Party. I've got my rosette on in homage, and the fact there's some elections next week. He was chair of his constituency Labour Party, I think, but a great album, Pipe Dream, Alan Hull, 1973. The next one is one of my favourites and most played from this collection behind me. A stunning album. This is Daryl Hall and John Oates' Abandoned Luncheonette, with the photo of the abandoned luncheonette on the front. And I don't want to say too much about this, other than if you haven't got it, I would urge you just listen to it or find it somewhere, but get it on whatever format, whether it's vinyl or CD or whatever, because this is one of those albums that's just absolutely perfect. It's sort of soul, white soul, folk, pop music, but the songs are so well crafted and beautifully performed. There are 9 songs on here. I think they're all just about absolutely perfect, and it's just one of those outstanding albums that didn't really make a huge impact when it first came out, but I think later on I think has been seen as a real standout album from 1973 or early 74. Daryl Hall, John Oates, Abandoned Luncheonette. And if you want to look up some later Daryl Hall stuff to see what a talent he is, if you look up on YouTube Daryl's House, it's a series of concerts, informal gigs in his sort of living room where he invites guests in, and brilliant range of guests, people from the OJs to Smokey Robinson to Todd Rundgren and others, but brilliant to watch, so I would recommend that. So Daryl Hall, John Oates, Abandoned Luncheonette, 74, I think, early 74. And then lastly, back to the northeast of England, right up to date, 2020 or early 21, I'm not sure, there's not a date on it. This is on a small Darlington-based record company, Butterfly Effect Records, and this is James Leonard Hewitson, Only the Noise Will Save Me. And James is from my hometown, Hartlepool. I've seen him and his band a few times perform live, a great live group. This is the first LP. I'm going to just read what the internet music magazine critic has quoted on the front. To call Only the Noise Will Save Me slacker pop would be doing it a disservice. It's wonderfully crafted, astutely melodic pop music with unflinching narratives exploring the mores of the day for young people in austerity Britain. And I think that, yeah, that sums it up. It is a real good quote. The sound for me is somewhere between the Lemonheads and the Dickies, with maybe a little bit of the Only Ones, the Buzzcocks sort of in there somewhere. Great pop songs. I think on the first side, some of my favourites, track 2, 3, 4 and 5, and the first one on side 2, Shy of Hard Work. But if you want to just pick one out, go on YouTube. There's some great videos, by the way, to accompany this, but there's a single off this album called Deader, which I can fully imagine being sung by tens of thousands of people in a rock festival. It's a real anthemic song. Brilliant, but a lot of great tracks on there, a huge talent, and when James gets the fame he'll deserve, hopefully I will become, or my inheritor will become, a rich person, because this is a limited edition of 100 copies. It's got inside it some handwritten lyrics by James and signed, and a signed photograph of a street in Hartlepool. Limited to 100 copies, as I say. I know, because I looked at his website just as I put this on, that there are 18 left. Go and get one. When you've heard it, you'll be glad of it. James Leonard Hewitson, Only the Noise Will Save Me. So that's the letter H. Next week I'm going to look at I and J, because I ain't got many in the I collection, so we're going to have a 2-letter session. Hope you might join me. Cheers.